Welcome back to the channel BBC Rare Coins. Today, we're diving into a small coin with a big history, the Jefferson nickel. United States first minted in 1938, this 5-cent piece has seen war, design changes, and even a few valuable surprises along the way. Let's start it. Top 1. Did you know a regular-looking nickel from 1980 sold for an unbelievable $61,000? That's right. A 5-cent coin that you or I might overlook every single day turned out to be one of the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever discovered. In this video, we're diving into the wild and unbelievable story of how a simple 1980 Jefferson nickel became a high-value collectible that stunned the coin world and set collectors into a frenzy. Now let's start with what most people know. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938. It features Thomas Jefferson on the front, that familiar left-facing portrait, and Monticello, his historic home, on the back. It's a coin we see all the time, so why would one from 1980 be worth anything more than face value? What made this coin stand out from the millions? Yes, millions, that were minted that year. Here's where the story starts to heat up. The 1980 Jefferson nickel in question wasn't just any coin. It was graded as MS, 67 full steps, which immediately set it apart. Let's break that down. MS stands for mint state, and the number, 67, means the coin is almost perfect, just a few marks short of a flawless MS, 70 grade. But the real magic is in those two words, full steps. That refers to the tiny steps in front of Monticello on the reverse side. On most circulated nickels, those steps are worn down or barely visible, even fresh from the mint. But this coin had full, razor-sharp steps, a feature that's extremely rare for coins from this era. Full steps means detail, and detail means value. But that's not all. This nickel also had a minting anomaly, a subtle but clear double die obverse. That means some elements on the front of the coin, like Jefferson's eye, the date, and the word liberty, had faint, doubled images. These errors don't happen often, and when they do, they immediately catch the attention of serious collectors. The doubling, combined with the perfect strike and high grade, created the perfect storm of rarity. Oh, how rare is rare? We're talking one known example at this grade, with these features. When this nickel was submitted to a third-party grading service, in this case, PCGS, it came back with one of the highest designations ever given to a 1980 nickel. That immediately placed it in a league of its own. Collectors started taking notice. Whispers turned into rumors, and rumors turned into bidding wars. When this coin finally hit the auction block, it was like throwing gasoline on a fire. The bids started modestly, as they often do. But within minutes, it was clear that this wasn't going to be an ordinary sale. Bidders from across the country, and even international collectors, joined the fray. The price shot past $10,000, then $20,000, then $40,000. When the final gavel fell, it landed at an astonishing $61,000. That's more than a brand new luxury car. For a nickel, let that sink in. A coin that probably passed through someone's hands at a grocery store, that might have sat in a jar or rolled into a vending machine, ended up being worth more than most people make in a year. And here's the craziest part. There could be more out there. That's right. This might not be a one-time event. There could be other 1980 Jefferson nickels in high grades, with full steps, with doubling, or other rare mint errors, just waiting to be discovered. Oh, how do you know if you're sitting on a fortune? Start by checking your change. Seriously, look at every nickel from 1980, especially those that look especially sharp or clean. Get yourself a magnifying glass or a loupe and examine the steps on Monticello. Count them. You want to see 5 full steps, clean and unbroken. Then look at the date and letters. Do you see any slight doubling? Does anything look off or bolded? If so, you might just have something special. Collectors and grading companies are always on the lookout for coins like this. If you think you've got one, get it graded by a reputable third-party service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, it costs money, but the payoff could be huge. One tiny detail could turn your 5-cent coin into a 5-figure payday. This is the kind of story that makes coin collecting so exciting. It's not just about old, dusty coins from centuries ago. It's about everyday money, coins that are still in circulation today, hiding in plain sight with values most people can't imagine. It proves that the thrill of the hunt is alive and well. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who checks their pocket change, there's always the chance that the next big discovery could be yours. And remember, the 1980 Jefferson nickel that sold for $61,000 wasn't an antique. It wasn't a gold coin. It wasn't even rare when it was made. But time, condition, and a bit of luck turned it into one of the most desirable Jefferson nickels in existence. That's the magic of numismatics. The unexpected treasures, the hidden gems, and the thrill of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. So keep your eyes open, check every nickel, and never underestimate the coins in your hand. Because the next record-breaking coin might be sitting right in your pocket, and it could be worth a whole lot more than just 5 cents. Top 2. What if I told you that a simple, everyday 5-cent coin from 1983 could be worth an astonishing $56,000? That's right. A Jefferson nickel, something millions of people handled without a second thought, has become one of the most valuable and rare 5-cent coins in American history. In this video, we're taking a deep dive into the unbelievable story of the 1983 Jefferson nickel, how it shocked the numismatic world, and why it fetched such an insane price at auction. Grab your coin jars, because after this, you'll be checking every nickel you've ever owned. Let's start with the basics. The 1983 Jefferson nickel might not seem special at first glance. It features the classic profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, his calm gaze looking left, and Monticello, his iconic Virginia home, proudly displayed on the reverse. These coins were minted by the millions at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and they've been in circulation for decades. Most people wouldn't look twice at one, let alone think it could be worth more than a few cents. But as history has proven again and again in the world of coin collecting, looks can be deceiving. What made this 1983 Jefferson nickel different? Why would one single coin explode in value and reach a staggering $56,000 at auction? The answer comes down to 3 powerful factors: condition, rarity, and error. First, let's talk about condition. This specific 1983 nickel was graded MS 67 full steps, which immediately placed it in an elite category. MS 67 means the coin is virtually flawless, with extremely sharp details and no signs of wear under 5x magnification. Full steps refers to the staircase on Monticello, 5 to 6 perfectly struck steps that show no breaks, nicks, or smoothing. Coins with full steps are incredibly rare, especially from the 1980s, when mint quality control was inconsistent and the dies were often used far beyond their prime. Finding one in this level of condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. But that wasn't all. This particular 1983 nickel also featured a striking mint error, a subtle but visible double die reverse. On the back of the coin, parts of the lettering and architectural details of Monticello appeared doubled. It's not the kind of doubling caused by wear or a blurry strike. This was true hub doubling, a rare mistake during the die-making process that creates a clear second image slightly offset from the first. For error collectors, that's pure gold. Combined with the pristine condition, this mint error turned an already impressive coin into something extraordinary. Then comes the rarity factor. According to expert graders and auction houses, there may be only one known example of a 1983 Jefferson nickel with this exact error and full steps grade. That's the kind of exclusivity that drives collectors wild. In the coin world, rarity is everything. And when you have a coin that's both beautiful and unique, the value skyrockets. When this coin hit the auction floor, nobody expected what happened next. Initial bids started in the thousands. But as word spread about the coin's condition and unique characteristics, collectors began circling. Phone bidders, online bidders, in-person dealers, all trying to add this unicorn of a coin to their collections. The numbers climbed fast. $10, $000, $20, $000, $35, $000. The auction house buzzed with energy. And finally, after a tense final round of bidding, the hammer fell at an eye-popping $56,000. For a nickel, a 5-cent piece. Let that sink in. Think about that for a second. A coin that most people might toss into a change jar, leave in a car cup holder, or hand to a cashier without thinking, turned out to be one of the most valuable Jefferson nickels ever recorded. This wasn't a colonial coin from the 1700s. It wasn't gold. It wasn't encrusted with diamonds. It was made in 1983, the same year Return of the Jedi hit theaters and Michael Jackson's Thriller topped the charts. And the craziest part? There might be more out there, that's right. This coin wasn't minted as a one-of-a-kind collectible. It came from the same production lines as millions of others. That means there's a very real chance that another high-grade, full steps, error variant 1983 nickel could be sitting in someone's drawer right now, or mixed in with a handful of change, or stuck between the cushions of a couch. It could be anywhere. It could be yours. So what should you do? Start looking. Every time you get change, every time you empty your pockets, take a close look at your nickels. Find those 1983s. Check for sharp strikes, especially around the steps of Monticello. Count them. If you see 5 or 6 steps that are clean, unbroken, and fully struck, you're looking at something rare. Then check for doubling, especially on the reverse, on the words Monticello, 5 cents, or United States of America. If anything looks bold or slightly off, don't ignore it. Get a magnifying glass. Compare it to other nickels. And if you really think you have something special, get it graded by a top-tier service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, there's a fee. But if your coin is anything like the one that sold for $56,000, it's more than worth it. A small investment for a potentially massive reward. The story of the 1983 Jefferson nickel is more than just a tale of money. It's a perfect example of how value can hide in plain sight. It reminds us that even in a world of fast-moving tech and digital payments, the humble coin still holds secrets and surprises. Some of the rarest treasures aren't buried in the ground or locked in museums. They're sitting in our pockets. The next time you get a nickel in your hand, don't dismiss it. Look at it closely, because as this incredible story proves, one small coin from 1983 changed everything and turned 5 cents into $56,000. Top 3. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a handful of coins, and discovering that one of them, just a regular-looking 5-cent Jefferson nickel from 1991, is actually worth a jaw-dropping $52,000. Sounds impossible, right? But it's not just a dream. This really happened. One ordinary-looking Jefferson nickel from 1991 went on to become one of the most valuable and rare coins in the history of U.S. 5-cent pieces. And today, we're diving into the fascinating story behind this incredible coin, how it became so valuable, and why collectors are still hunting for more like it. Now, the 1991 Jefferson nickel doesn't exactly scream rare at first glance. It looks like millions of other nickels, the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front, the image of Monticello on the back, and the usual inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," in the year 1991. It was minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and these coins circulated all across the country like any other modern change. People spent them, dropped them in vending machines, and stuffed them into couch cushions without giving them a second thought. So what made one of these nickels sell for an eye-watering $52,000? It comes down to 3 powerful ingredients: condition, rarity, and an unexpected and unbelievable minting error that took this coin from ordinary to extraordinary. Let's break it down. The first reason this coin stood out is its grade. This Jefferson nickel was graded MS 67 full steps, which places it in an incredibly exclusive club. MS stands for mint state, and MS 67 means it was struck perfectly and has been preserved in near-flawless condition. We're talking about a coin that looks like it just came out of the mint press yesterday. No scratches, no contact marks, no blemishes. But the full steps part is even more important. On the back of the nickel, just below Monticello, you'll see a tiny staircase. Most nickels, even ones that are uncirculated, have worn, incomplete, or softly struck steps. But the rarest of the rare have every single step perfectly defined, 5 to 6 sharp lines that run across without breaks. That level of detail is hard to come by, especially on coins from the 1990s, when production speed sometimes sacrificed strike quality. Now here's where it gets really interesting. This particular 1991 Jefferson nickel also had an extremely rare mint error, a broad strike off-center. That means the coin was struck slightly outside the collar that normally shapes its rim. As a result, the coin appears larger than normal, with an unusually wide edge and an off-center design. But even with this error, the coin still retained its full details, including those elusive full steps, and was in pristine condition. That's an extremely rare combination. Most error coins lose sharpness or come with damage, but this one was a perfect storm, a minting mistake that somehow created a more desirable coin, not less. So what happens when you combine a super high mint state grade, the full steps designation, and a unique mint error that's rarely seen in nickels from this year. You get a coin that collectors will fight over. When this 1991 Jefferson nickel went to auction, the buzz was already building. Collectors from around the country were watching, waiting to see how high the bids would climb. And when the bidding started, it was clear this wasn't just a coin. It was a once-in-a-generation find. Bids started rolling in fast. 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and it kept going. As the coin reached $40,000, the room was electric. Bidders on the phone, online, and in person were going all in to own this historic piece. And finally, the hammer came down. $52,000. For one Jefferson nickel. 5 cents turned into more than some people make in an entire year. A piece of everyday change transformed into a treasure. The most mind-blowing part? This coin wasn't special when it left the mint. It was made in the same facility as millions of others. It wasn't struck in gold. It wasn't made for a limited edition set. It was a regular nickel, meant for circulation, accidentally struck just a little differently, and preserved perfectly over time. That's it. That's the magic. One coin that avoided pockets, machines, and time itself, waiting silently for decades until someone noticed it was unlike any other. And here's where you come in. There's no reason to believe this is the only 1991 nickel like this. Think about how many coins pass through your hands, your pockets, your change jars. There could be another MS-67 full steps nickel out there, just like this one. Another off-center broad strike error that no one's noticed yet. It might be sitting in a cash register. It might be in a coin roll at the bank. It might already be in your collection. That's the thrill of it. These treasures are still out there. If you've got a 1991 Jefferson nickel, now is the time to check it. Look closely. Use a magnifying glass. Are the steps on Monticello clear and unbroken? Is the coin slightly off-center? Does the rim look unusual? Does the strike look sharper than normal? If so, you might have something very special. And if you think you do, get that coin graded by a professional service. You never know. You could be holding the next $52,000 find. The story of the 1991 Jefferson nickel is a reminder that even the most common things in life can hold incredible value. That the tiniest details, a sharp step here, a slight error there, can turn something ordinary into something legendary. It's a story of rarity, of perfection, of discovery. And it's a story that's still being written. Because out there, maybe right now, someone is about to find the next great American coin treasure.